Good evening. It is election night in America, and tonight I will be following the Senate elections, where we have 40 seats safe for the Republican Party, 45 safe for the Democratic Party, and 15 contentious races that we will be watching closely tonight, where either party is going to vie for a majority in the Senate. Earlier in the year, the Senate was looking safe for the Republican Party. However, after Donald Trump's approval rating and polling numbers slipped continually from late March to election day, it has become extremely competitive, and now Democrats are favored to win a majority in the Senate. Let's move on to our first poll closings of the evening. In West Virginia, Shelley Moore Capito is the apparent winner, along with another Republican, Cindy Hyde-Smith, in the state of Mississippi. A few Democrats later on. In North Carolina, Tom Tillis is currently leading Cal Cunningham by 6% with 32% of votes reported. This is a key battleground state for either party to win a majority, and we are going to be checking up on it a few more times throughout the evening. It is still too early to call. In Delaware, Chris Coons is the incumbent Democrat. He will keep his seat. And in Rhode Island, Jack Reed will also keep his seat. In the state of New Jersey, Cory Booker ran for president in 2020, but he will be the apparent winner of his Senate seat in this election. In Alabama, Doug Jones currently leading Tommy Tuberville by 1% with 46% of votes in. It is too early to call. Tommy Tuberville is favored to win this race. However, Doug Jones has improved in his polling numbers in recent weeks. In the state of Louisiana, Bill Cassidy, a Republican, is the apparent winner. And in Tennessee, Manny Sethi is the apparent winner of this open race. In Michigan, Gary Peters versus John James. Peters currently leading James by around 4% with 51% of votes reported. This is a critical state for the Democratic Party if they want any shot at winning a majority in the Senate. It is still too early to call. In Massachusetts, Joe Kennedy, the apparent winner after winning a tough primary challenge against Ed Markey, the incumbent. In Arkansas, Tom Cotton is the apparent winner. And checking in on Kentucky, Mitch McConnell currently leading Amy McGrath by 22%. McGrath faced a tough primary challenge from Charles Booker. However, she has the support of the Senate campaign wing, and she's proven to be an avid fundraiser, but with 51% of votes in, she has a lot of ground to make up. In Virginia, Mike Warner is the apparent winner, along with in Illinois, Dick Durbin, another Democrat, apparent winner. In Oklahoma, Jim Inhofe is the apparent winner of this Senate seat. And in South Carolina, we have our first precinct map with 81% of votes in. Jamie Harrison currently leading Lindsey Graham by 1%. This is a shocking number. Lindsey Graham is definitely the clear favorite in South Carolina going into election night. However, Harrison has been performing well in some polling. This is a critical state for the Republican Party to hold on to if they want any shot at keeping a majority. In Minnesota, Tina Smith winning her first election to a full term after winning a special election in 2018. And in Maine, we have another precinct map with 62% of votes in. Sarah Gideon currently leading Susan Collins by 9% in this key battleground state for either party. Susan Collins, a longtime incumbent. We will be checking up on this race continually throughout the night. In Nebraska, Ben Sass is the apparent winner. And in Texas, MJ Hager currently leading John Cornyn by 9% with 37% of votes reported. I am getting word that a lot of urban areas are currently reporting right now, such as Harris, Bexar, and Dallas County, which may account for why MJ has such a sizable lead. This race is still too early to call, but it is favored for Senator Cornyn. New Hampshire, Jeanne Shaheen is the apparent winner. It was competitive early in the year, but has since faded into a strong seat for Senator Shaheen. In Kansas, Barbara Bollier facing off against Chris Kobach with 76% of votes in. It is razor thin, a virtual dead heat. And in the state of Iowa, an extremely critical race for the Republican Party and Democratic Party alike. Teresa Greenfield currently leading Senator Joni Ernst by 2% with 83% of votes reported. In the state of Iowa, Jim Risch, a Republican, will keep his seat. And in Montana, Steve Bullock is currently trailing Steve Daines by 3% with 65% of votes reported. This is another critical state for either party, specifically the Republican Party, to hold on to their majority in the Senate. Moving over to Arizona, we can see Mark Kelly leading Martha McSally by 13% with 82% of votes reported. I am getting word that some extremely conservative areas of Maricopa County have yet to report their results, which may account for this very large deficit. However, Martha McSally has a lot of ground to make up with only 18% of votes left to count. In Alabama, Tommy Tuberville, the first Republican gain of the evening, is the apparent winner over incumbent Doug Jones. In Colorado, John Hickenlooper will beat incumbent Cory Gardner and win this Senate seat. And in North Carolina, checking back in with 66% of votes in, Cal Cunningham has now narrowed the gap, only trailing Tom Tillis by 1%. This race is still too early to call, getting closer by the minute. In Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, will keep his seat over Amy McGrath. And in Wyoming, Mike Enzi will also retain his seat. In New Mexico, an open contest, not extremely competitive, Democrat Ben Ray Lujan, the clear favorite, has won the seat. In South Carolina, Lindsey Graham is going to beat out Jamie Harrison. He is the apparent winner. And in the state of Georgia, extremely contentious, 81% of votes reported, a virtual dead heat between David Perdue and Jon Ossoff. It is still too early to call. We have two elections coming out of Georgia tonight. In the state of Maine, Susan Collins has now closed the gap between her and Sarah Gideon with 78% of votes reported. Gideon still leads by 3%. Maine is too early to call. In the state of Texas, John Cornyn is expected to win. He will beat out MJ Hagar, his challenger. And in the state of Arizona, Martha McSally has insanely closed the gap by around 10%, now trailing Mark Kelly by only 3 percentage points. The race is still too early to call, with 93% of votes in. In the state of Oregon, Jeff Merkley is the apparent winner, and in Montana, Steve Bullock has closed the gap between him and Steve Daines with 80% of votes in. It is too early to call. In South Dakota, Mike Rounds, a Republican, is the apparent winner, and in Michigan, Gary Peters is going to hold off John James on his second attempt to win a Senate seat in the state of Michigan. The Democrats will keep this seat. Moving over to our map, we can see that 44 seats have been awarded to the Republican Party and 47 to the Democratic Party, with 7 seats still listed as toss-ups. So we will check in on some of those later tonight. Alaska Senate, Dan Sullivan currently leading Al Gross, his challenger, by 21% with 45% of votes in. It is still too early to call. In the state of Iowa, getting closer by the minute, Teresa Greenfield now leading Joni Ernst by only 1 percentage point with 97% of votes in. And in the state of Arizona, Mark Kelly will flip that Senate seat, beat incumbent Martha McSally. After she lost a Senate election in 2018 statewide, she has now lost a second election in 2020. In North Carolina, a huge win for the Democratic Party. Cal Cunningham will win. He will gain this seat for the Democrats. He is the apparent winner, beating out incumbent Tom Tillis. And in Georgia, Doug Collins and Raphael Warnock will advance to the runoff, with no candidate reaching a clear outright majority with 99% of votes in. And in the state of Georgia, the regular election, David Perdue, the incumbent Republican, will be the apparent winner. He will retain his seat. In Montana, Steve Bullock will gain this seat for the Democratic Party, beating out incumbent Steve Daines. This is a huge win for the Democratic Party. It now puts them at 50 seats. In Alaska, Dan Sullivan, a Republican, is the apparent winner, and we have a key race projection. In the state of Iowa, Teresa Greenfield, a Democrat, will beat out incumbent Republican Joni Ernst and become the winner of this Senate seat. This is a gain for the Democratic Party, and it means that Democrats have won control of the Senate in 2020. In Kansas, one of our last calls of the evening, Chris Kobach versus Barbara Bollier. In a surprising competition, Barbara Bollier has become more competitive than polls had led on in just a few weeks earlier prior to the election. Chris Kobach, an extremely unpopular figure statewide, however, he was expected to win, but now it is extremely close. In Maine, Sarah Gideon, a Democrat, will beat Susan Collins, longtime incumbent, and become the winner of this Senate seat. And our last call of the evening, in Kansas, Barbara Bollier, a Democrat, will beat Chris Kobach for this open Senate seat and flip it for the Democratic Party. If we look at our final map, we can see that 46 seats go to the Republican Party, with 53 for the Democratic Party, and there is 1 seat yet to be called in Georgia's special election, which will face Doug Collins versus Raphael Warnock. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, I'll see you later.